Today, we dive into Foregate Whiskey Company's release, or batch number 7. This is their River Kelvin Rye. Will this one live up to its highly anticipated release? Let's find out today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Let's review this. Thanks for joining me today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Today we're diving into Foregate Whiskey Company's newest release, which is their batch 7, the River Kelvin Rye. This is coming in at 113.2 proof or 56.6% ABV. It is, as all of their stuff is, non-chill filtered and basically bottled at barrel strength. It is age stated as 7 years on the bottle, so we know within that blend, we know that the minimum age of these barrels is going to be 7 years old. Mashbill 95.5, which is 95% rye, 5% malted barley, classic or standard MGP rye whiskey, again at barrel strength. MSRP on this one is around $175, and there were a number of bottles, or the number of bottles was 1,484. So why don't we get into the review? First, we'll start out with the color. So as you can see, kind of a really nice amber color. Move it around in the glass, especially with these barrel strength whiskeys. You know, allow them to open up a little bit. It usually will reward you ultimately, you know, in the end, or when you kind of get into the tasting part of it. So again, really nice amber, kind of copperish type of color. Very oily on the glass. That's another thing that's important to see, kind of how the glass is being coated. This is really nice. And again, you'd expect it non-chill filtered, barrel proof. Most of the time you're gonna, you know, it's gonna leave some nice oils and stuff behind. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into the nose. Ah, boy, so immediately, like right away, you get this kind of intense, like zestiness. Very, very fragrant. Almost like it's some kind of citrus. There's this like herbaceous quality to it. Maybe even a little bit of like a pine, something along those lines. Really nice, sweet, candy-like mint note to it, or spearmint. Nice cinnamon note to it. And that rye kind of really comes into, you'd expect it. I mean, with it being obviously 95% rye, you're going to get that rye note to it. It's got this creamy smell to it. So I mean, it smells like it looks, like viscous, creamy. Nice medium oak on it. Doesn't seem to be over oaked by any means. And again, 7 years old is a really, really nice age for a rye, and then at a barrel strength, even nicer. Sweet vanilla note to that as well. And kind of right there, a little bit of dill kind of popped in for me too. So something for me that I'm not overly crazy about in a rye is the dill factor. But again, this is very muted. So if that's something, again, that you may not like, you know, don't let this sway you. It's very, very light for me. Even a touch of black pepper there as well, like a black pepper, maybe even like a black licorice, and maybe that's coming back to that like herbaceousness to it. Yeah, really nice nose. I mean, and the other thing you don't even think about is it's not overly hot in terms of the amount of ethanol that's coming off. I mean, again, at 113.2 proof, there's some nice, you know, proof to it, but not a lot of heat or ethanol coming off this really at all. So really nice nose, but more importantly, let's see how this one tastes. Cheers. So first off, something again that's important to me is the mouthfeel, that mouth coating. Both excellent so far. Coats the mouth really well, hits really nicely on both sides of the tongue, right in the tip as well. Very spicy forward. Yeah, it's just, boy, it's like, there's a lot going on. I'm trying to kind of gather all of this stuff here. But again, that candy-like mint that's there. I don't know like what the candy would necessarily be, but there's this sweet candy-like mint aspect to it. Really no dill for me at all. Really nice rye spice. Again, that classic 95.5 is just a fantastic mash bill. Still some of that zestiness that's there, like that herbaceous, that pine, little black pepper. Again, maybe some of that black licorice is kind of coming through in it a little bit. Slight dryness there. And for me, whiskeys that get into that dryness is usually where I start to pick up some of those like leathers and tobaccos, the things that you associate with a little bit of dryness. Again, the leathers and the tobaccos, things along those lines. A little bit of that pine kind of coming through as well. It's a classic 95.5 rye mash bill, just amped up with some more intense flavors. It's a fantastic mash bill. As far as rye whiskeys go, for me, it's probably hands down my favorite mash bill. I just appreciate what it is that really high intense rye really gives off. So if you already like that mash bill and you really like it, or like a whiskey that's barrel strength, non-chill filter, they're not cutting it, adding water, nothing. Absolutely fantastic rye whiskey. Now, again, if you want to use something like this in cocktails, it's going to hold up tremendously. It's got great flavors, good oils to it, very good fragrance to it. But going back to this specifically, it's a pretty long finish. It's on the long side of medium, approaching kind of that longest type of finish to it. And again, some of that herbaceous characteristics, the pines, a little bit of the leather, the tobacco, that nice spearmint note is kind of lingering. It's very nice. It's a really, really nice barrel strength rye whiskey. And again, I'm a big fan of what Foregate has done, leading up to this. The uniqueness with this batch is that their plan is to, going forward, put a couple of other blends together. So as you kind of get into their rye whiskeys, you'll be able to reference back to the original. This is their first, again, whiskey that they've not finished in really anything for the most part. Well, especially their rye whiskey. So going forward, you're going to have it, again, finished in a couple of different types of barrels. So you can go back to the original one, get a good idea of what this mash bill was, and then what the finishing aspects will do to this specific rye whiskey. So really interesting from that standpoint. So again, this is their Foregate Whiskey Batch 7 River Kelvin Rye. Again, barrel strength, non-chill filtered, aged 7 years, mash bill 95% rye, 5% malted barley. MSRP, again, $175, which in today's day and age isn't even a crazy number really anymore. So for me, I'm a huge fan, again, of what it is that the company does. Them being a little bit forward in terms of their finishings that they do with their whiskeys is something I appreciate, but allowing us to kind of taste their idea of what their quality rye whiskey will be. This is kind of what you've got. Again, fantastic rye whiskey. So, as far as a buy recommendation, I would say yes. If you like what Foregate has done leading up to this, I don't think you'll be disappointed. And again, a 7-year age-stated barrel strength, non-chill filtered rye whiskey. It's really a hard whiskey to pass up nowadays. So again, with that being said, I'd give it a strong buy recommendation. I hope people appreciate that. Give them a try. So with that being said, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into another one of my reviews. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, leave some comments. Let me know your thoughts. Have you tried this? Are you kind of eagerly anticipating the release of this? And again, as of the making of this video, this is just the first part of July. So it should be out by now and just introduced to the market. So check some different places and see if it's available. I know it's available, I believe, in Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee, I believe, are the 3 places that you'll be able to pick it up from at retail. So With that being said, also if you'd like to help support the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which I'll have linked in the description below. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of those places, My Bourbon Journey. And remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.